Tough end to the road trip. Went 2-2 after getting off to a good start. Talk about that.
Yeah, we talk now as a team after the game that we can't be too high, when we're winning and everything's going fine, and you know we can't get too high. And then now we lost two in a row against teams that at our level or we should beat them, and we lost. So, but we just got to learn from this and keep our heads high.
Chris, for you, was kind of a lower game on the scale. You've
Yeah.
had the ups and downs. How do you manage the ups and downs as a player?
That's what I'm working on. I'm a young player. I'm making a lot of mistakes during the beginning of my career. Obviously, today wasn't a good game for me offensively. I think defensively I tried to do what I could to help the team. Yeah, just learn from this. There are going to be games like this, but just be ready to bounce back the next game.
Some first-year players feel the pressure when that happens. Do you feel like the team is giving you a lot of support to play through mistakes and just?
For sure. Sure, you can tell. I don't shoot the ball well. I'm turning the ball over, but coach, he trusts me and he keeps me on the floor because he knows I'll play hard on the defensive end and try to do whatever I can to help the team.
And what kind of difference does that make for you?
That's huge for a young player like me to for a coach that trusts a young guy, that he will do the right thing on the floor. That's huge. It just shows me, that he trusts me and I gotta go play out there, as hard as I can.
There's still guys that are kind of challenging you at the rim. Are you surprised people haven't gotten the note yet? They'll block a shot.
I mean, guys will try to dunk on me my whole career. It's not going to stop at one moment. So, obviously, I try to block as much as I can, but there will be guys who will, catch me and maybe dunk on me. But for now, I'm just trying to be as active as I can on the defensive end and just, block shots.
Did you feel like they played you more aggressively than maybe some other teams, or more physically than some other teams?
Um, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't as aggressive. I was, more shooting from the outside at the beginning. I should have been more aggressive, I think, and draw fouls and to make my point from the beginning. And maybe that was my mistake. Later on, yeah, I was just, trying to be, smart and maybe get a foul here and there, just be a little more aggressive. And but that's part of the game. They can, the times that I was on the floor, if we got a foul, I was okay. My teammates stood up for me, and they got my back. So I'll try to play the same way, and teams will try to play physical or not. I'll do my thing.
Kristaps, you had your parents and your brother here tonight. They were also in Miami. What does it mean to you to have their support, not just in New York, but when they come and travel with you out here on the road?
Yeah, that's huge. Having family around all the time. They're my biggest supporters. Whenever I'm too low, they support me. Whenever I'm too high, they make sure I stay focused on what I need to do. So having family around that's the best thing that there is.
And we understand your mom's going to fly back and cook you guys some Thanksgiving your first time here. It's pretty special that she's making that trip back to take care of you tomorrow.
Yeah, of course. My first Thanksgiving here in America, so mom will be around. Mom will cook some delicious food for sure, and I'll enjoy that day with my family.
Now that you've had about 1 month of regular season play under your belt plus preseason, so you've played against maybe 10, 12, 13, 14 teams till now. What have you learned from that variety of teams?
That every night there's a different team coming up. You gotta prepare yourself for every team, different player coming up. So you just gotta get adjusted to very quick. The next day you got another game back to back. There you have 1 day off. You're playing again. The schedule is tight, and you just got to stay focused and prepare for every game individually.
Have you tried to adjust differently or just stick to your skill set?
Yeah, I try to play my game. Sometimes I do things that are not the right thing, but what I always try to bring is the energy and just playing hard and helping the team defensively, even if my offensive game is off. So that's basically my mentality going into every game.